This is Sybert signing into 0 Hour on the map Vendetta. It may look like Tournament Desert, but it is distinctly different, and in the north, kicking it off as the orange China nuke. This is Big Ol' SiZe. SiZe, a player that I recognize and have seen many games from, but it has been many years since I have seen SiZe play. Meanwhile, in the south, playing the USA super weapon, this is Fargo. Another player that I am familiar with, but not for the last 2.5 years, basically. Some of the folks in the 2025 World Series, which is, of course, what we're checking out today, I had not heard of at all. I've never seen them play. These guys, I've at least seen them play. I am familiar that SiZe and Fargo are both very good. They are possibly both top 4 players. I believe SiZe was in the top 4 of the 2024 World Series. So either one of these guys going out here in the round of 32 is a pretty big shutdown for either one of them, and it does eliminate a key competitor from the round of 16 and the quarterfinals, the round of 8. Both of these players, I think, could have the opportunity to make it into the round of 8, maybe make it into the quarterfinals, maybe into the semifinals, be a top 4 finish. And one of them is going down today. It is a best of 11, so we do have a minimum of 6 games. Where is this dozer going? I mean, I'm familiar with that USA super weapon has some troubles in matchups, but where is that dozer going? Is he going to try and proxy either an EMP Patriot or something else? I don't think if he was proxying a War Factory, he would be aiming for that kind of a... He would be going for that kind of an angle. Gat going to be chasing away those Chinooks. Both of the Chinooks are alive for now. Dozer on the other side of the map. It looks like it must be a proxy Patriot right on his opponent's base. Rockv is going to be able to shut down that Gat. There is a Gat here on the left side. Helix as well getting pushed away, and there's just nothing that dozer is doing for the current moment. Nuke Battlemaster does end up going down, and it looks like this Chinook is going to return to work. Maybe a little bit too early. No, he does survive just fine. And Missile Defender's Laser Lock comes in, but the Helix does manage to escape. And Airfield is up. Okay, there's the EMP Patriot. This is costly for Fargo to try and pull this off. Some players are quite suicidal when they play USA super weapon. You have some disadvantages that you have to work around. And I believe in this matchup, Nuke versus Super Weapon, that the Nuke has a pretty heavy advantage in terms of win rates, but, anything can happen. EMP Patriot comes up, but it's too little, too late, because he's low on power by 1 single point of electricity. He is low on power, so he needs a power plant up and running. Okay, there's the upgrade for it, so he's now back online, and this EMP Patriot can get to work. He's going to be able to get the kill on at least one of these supply trucks, and he might just get the kill on the whole darn operation. And Red Guard going to be moving in here. Nuclear Red Guard, if only a dozer will be hunted, and that troop crawler is empty, I guess. So everyone is already evacuated out. No, it's not empty. He is going to unload on top of that dozer, and he gets the kill right on the edge of range there. Yes, he does get the kill before turning the corner. 1 dozer left for Fargo here as SiZe is looking ready to put a point on the board. 0 dozers left for Fargo as the power plant will go down in the north. Hope does not spring eternal for the USA super weapons general, who gets out an ambulance and has this hope for the rest of the game. Ambo and Humvees rocking around the map, looking to knock this game out in the next couple of minutes. It is low power mode for the rest of the game for the USA player. No dozers also means if this game ends up going long, which I assume that it won't, it'll be decided rather soon. A couple of Gatlix is going to be showing up. These are some expensive units onto the front line. Gat shows up at the same time. That's a lot of dead missile defenders. And 1 Helix goes down. 2 Helixes go down. USA tearing through these China units. And another tank hunter will be eliminated. 2 dozers on the nuclear side of the map. but one of them is right there. That's some heavy damage. That's a fully heroic Humvee as well, slowly being repaired up, and what is coming out is another nuclear Battlemaster. Whatever it is, it'll be maybe the last unit produced by that war factory. If he closes the distance, he doesn't close the distance, so he is not able to get up close and personal when he explodes. War factory gets shut down. Fargo doesn't need a dozer apparently, but the ammo goes down, so no more repairs for these Humvees. That's another dead Helix. As soon as it spawns in, it gets cleaned up. Fargo looking to put a point on the board despite no buildings, despite missing some of these key moments. He did go for that EMP Patriot, and it didn't work out the way that he wanted. Humvees moving forward. Another nuclear Battlemaster going to be showing up on top of the war factory, but getting pushed away. And Fargo closing in, now going to be able to shut down the airfield. No more Helixes, but there's the mines at the last possible second. So these Humvees may actually die as soon as they try to move away. They may end up getting cleaned up by those mines. On the south side, it's more minigunners pushing in, but say goodnight to the minigunners. Humvees are a little too strong for you right now. Another supply center gets eliminated. Fargo and BiG-SiZe wanting to throw this game into absolute mayhem just about from minute one. I didn't even get to say a big thanks to Jess and Phoenix for helping to organize and run the World Series for 2025. More Humvees getting shot up but not shut down. They managed to avoid the critical damage from the China nuke, and well, that'll be the end of those mines. So eventually the Humvees can move again. GAT in the... No, it's not a GAT. It's a nuclear Battlemaster in the back of the base. He can't shoot up, though, so that Chinook is safe to harvest. Missile Defender's going to pop on out. They will get the kill on another Battlemaster. And the pilot needs to jump. I guess it's almost a waste to jump inside of that double vet Humvee. The other one is already heroic, so that would truly be a waste. Meanwhile, more Humvees moving over. The pilot going to escape out of there. A war factory low on health. Fargo just sending Humvees in every direction, finding as many Battlemasters as he can and shutting them down. GG comes out. SiZe has been defeated. Fargo takes point number 1. And maybe he's happy to be playing the nuclear side of the map, but Fargo now needs to get a second win on the board. This time with Nuke against the Super Weapons General, which, depending on who you ask, that may be very easy, or as we saw, because he won game number 1, it might be a bit more tricky. Even with the dozers going down, even with the power snipe into not very effective EMP Patriot, Fargo ended up getting that win in game number 1. And I do want to say a big thank you to the folks who support the 2025 Zero Hour World Series, aka Baloney, Oxygen, Calibro, Finn, Dharmer, B, Legacy, Anti-Pro, and a lot more as well, who all donated to the 2025 prize pool. Absolutely massive. And then a huge thanks to MP3 for uploading a ton of replays to the Game Replay system so that I could find them and download them. CNCHD also uploading and organizing some of those. So huge thanks to all of those folks. Fargo and BiG-SiZe, happy to see a match between them. It does feel a little bit crazy that it is this early on in the tournament. It's literally only the second round of the tournament and they're already meeting each other here. GAT does go down. Humvee on the right side of the map. This is not SiZe going for a dozer and an EMP Patriot. He's instead going for a Humvee pushing deep into enemy territory, but it's going to be a Gatlix and a GAT on the other side of the map. That Helix does clean up that Humvee, and he will find himself a dozer as well. Fargo putting out big damage on the SiZe side of the map. At least if he actually manages to kill this dozer, which he should. The dozer should be going down. Troop Crawler tried to go for the crush. He will get 2 of the missile defenders there and then evac everyone else. Humvee goes down, and the Gatliks may end up going down to the missile defender. The laser lock is good, but so is the dozer snipe. SiZe loses 1 dozer. The other one is under threat as well. The Gat tearing up these targets, and the Humvee does a little bit of damage, but he's mostly just going to get shut down. As soon as he shows up, he gets put in the dirt, and that's a dead dozer as well. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, the Humvee slowly making its way forward. A barracks being added on into the middle. Missile defenders will pop on out. They may be able to kill off both of these Gats. They both go down. 2 missile defenders do survive. One of them extremely low on health. Another Humvee going down in the south. And the dozer, the worker trucks coming off the line, those supply trucks will get at least 1 more crush. And the GG comes in. Fargo opens up with a quick 2-0 on Vendetta, wins both sides of the match. 2 very different games. Koju Akawa is another one of these maps that I'm not very familiar with. Playing the GLA side of the match, this is Big Ol' Size. And on the other side, rocking the Vanilla China, this is Fargo. Currently up 2-0 in this best of 11. SiZe still has some more games to give, but you do not want to be going down, even with as many games as there are. And it would be an absolute tragedy to see SiZe, who was top 4, fall down here in the round of 32. It would also be a bit of a tragedy to see Fargo end up falling here. But double barracks will come out into the airfield. Fast helix from Fargo versus this GLA player. Meanwhile, very quick triple supply for the GLA player. Tunnel onto the high ground. Grabs the structure as well. Supply truck coming across the map. One of the things about this map is you do start with a little money crate, so you get an extra, I don't know, $1,000 or $2,000 right at the beginning of the match. So sending the supply truck onto the other side of the map, it is definitely affordable. You can afford whatever extra units you want right from the beginning of the game. You can get the capture upgrade that much more quickly. You don't have to worry about some of those early game losses. Toxin Tractor, on the other hand, making its way across the map, is going to adjust targets. It does not run into the mines. That would be even more tragic for SiZe to walk into the mines. He might actually deny the second oil from being captured. He does trade the Toxin Tractor for it. Very annoying, but artillery platform about to be grabbed by Fargo. So he does not grab his opponent's artillery platform. He does grab the one on his side of the map. Is this dozer going to be going down? There are 3 dozers out on the map for Fargo. So losing 1 dozer is not the end of the world. And, well, it was a tech terror. Supply truck will sacrifice itself, gets the cleanup there. Meanwhile, tunnel network in the middle. Flame wall comes up in the south, trying to stop these RPGs and quads from taking any more territory. RPGs are just walking right into this firewall, so the quads should kill the Dragon Tank first. No, 1, 2, 3 of those RPG troopers end up going down. 4 in total. And, well, that's never fun. Mines are deployed around some of these buildings, so the dozers, or so the supply trucks will be kind of defended against these technicals. That is a fully heroic technical, and whatever's inside dies with it there. As RPGs and quads moving out through the middle of the map, more flames to try and stop these tunnel network incursions from the GLA player. Getting a tunnel into the back of your opponent's base, either over there, even down in this corner near this oil refinery, anywhere on the middle of the map or towards your opponent's base is always so nice. Gat ends up going down. Quads pop right into a double flame wall, overlapping there for Fargo. He is trying to take control of this middle of the map. He's at the very least stopped any tunnels from being established in the middle or on the left side of the map. there are almost three tunnel networks here in the middle in the south. So he is maybe a little bit slower at clearing out the southern part of the map. So at the very least, SiZe can have that as a potential stronghold down there with triple tunnel network. Scorpion tank going to be getting eliminated. Flamer is pushing forward up there. No black napalm upgrade just yet for Fargo. With how many flame tanks he has got out, I would expect to see the black napalm at some point. Bunker does nothing as it gets established, and before anything can jump inside of it, SiZe shuts it down. There is 2-3 tunnel networks here basically on the front line, so these units do have a way to escape. Garage, or the tech repair bay, does allow these GLA units to repair anywhere on the map, which is always so nice. But it is directly in the middle of the map, so it should be knocked down quite easily. Again, more RPG troopers just standing in that wall of flames. Double flame going down, and a dozer finally gets killed off as well. This dozer has been basically on the front line for a couple of minutes now and hasn't been cleaned up. That's a lot of helixes out on the front line, as supplies are also incoming as well. Not something you see very often on maps is whatever the supply incoming means in this case. And more tunnel networks coming up. The fight for this northern little bit of a high ground is fierce between these two players. Stinger sight coming up in the south. Quads popping out. Another dragon tank will be killed off here. And those, yeah, the helixes are going to have to back off. You don't want to fight this many quads with the helixes, especially when the quads can jump back in that tunnel network at any moment. He might have actually been burning down his own supply a little bit there. Scorpions into the tunnel he may need to go because these helixes are over top and they are raining down fire. Dragon tank moves forward, but now he stands alone. It's him versus the GLA army, and that dragon tank won't last forever. Artillery platform is denied by Fargo there. BiG-SiZe was trying to take it over, and it just will not work out. Supply stash added into the mix here. And there is a palace up somewhere. Okay, there's the palace. He does have the building upgrade as well. So the buildings are all a little bit tougher for the GLA. Means we can also see Jarmenkel out onto the map. Maybe we'll see rocket buggies as well. But it looks like this is one of those maps that just divides in half quite evenly. And for the current moment, BiG-SiZe seems like he is able to take over more of these center of the map supplies, both in the north and in the south. Helixes show up. They're going to be able to help burn down the Stinger site. A couple of quads end up going down, but that dragon tank is not long for this world. SiZe up 12k per minute in income. This is a lot of helixes on top of the quads. Now the quads were pointed down for the first second, so the helixes get the shutdown. Every single quad goes down, and barely a helix takes any damage. Maybe one dies at the end of the fight here. No, they all manage to escape, but surely they will go down now on top of the quads. They emerge as the quads are just standing and fighting. The helixes will win that fight, but barely, as two helixes survive, one of them extremely low on health. Jarmenkel sniping unit after unit. So many of these flame tanks have been cleaned up by Jarmenkel alone, and the helixes, well, they may need to come over and save these flame tanks, but they won't do much saving if the quads escape down into the tunnels. Jarmenkel needs to snipe this additional flame tank. One oil derrick already gone, the other one under threat as that flame tank repositions, and the dragon will burn down the oil. 4 quads showing up to save it. Helixes repositioning in the south. Are they going to get caught against the edge of the map here? I guess if the quads are out, then they can't pop out of the tunnel network. So at the very least, you know that it's safe to go over there. And the helixes are just going to try and run further and further away. Another helix going down. Unbelievably expensive losing all of these helixes. But that's actually a scud storm coming up in the north as well for SiZe. And Helix is going to deploy out in the back. They get all of their tank hunters, and that's going to be a dead radar van, but also a dead oil derrick and dead black market, as these tank hunters in the corner there are going to bust open this section of the map. They're actually just trading out with the quads. Can they win this fight? There's no toxin tractor or anything to clean out the building, so maybe they can. Building down below half HP, and finally the tank hunters are evicted. The quads with an easy cleanup after the building is gone. Whose tank is that? That tank, I think, was on the wrong side, as that's a Jarman-Kell snipe, and it's double Dragon tank on top of the Scud Storm, but they're not flaming it down. Fargo didn't actually give the attack command, so he will not deny that quite as quickly. Quad cannons are actually going to show up on both sides and clean up both of those Dragon tanks. In the south, the fight continues with these supply trucks on the front line, trying to buy time, I guess, for the Dragon tanks and the Helixes to show up. Carpet bomb over top. Gonna aim for the black market. Artillery barrage finds the oil derrick, and that black market hadn't even been converted over to real, so it just died immediately. And of course, there's no rebuild with the GLA hull after the fact. I hope you like your dozer, because it's my dozer now, says SiZe. Fargo down to just one dozer. And is there a power plant coming in? I'm not actually sure what SiZe is going to do with the dozer. I expected to see a power plant scaffolding somewhere, but we'll see what he manages to do with it. EMP lands in the north. That's going to be dead MiGs. The quad cannon still is here. He trades out with the Helix as well, and the quad survives. 3 or 4 quads EMP'd, but one managed to survive in the corner there, and he gets the kill on everything in the sky for Fargo. Fargo at 9K per minute of income, basically double that of SiZe, but also just losing so many units. His army value isn't quite the difference between these two players in terms of total resources gathered. MiGs moving forward. Double Dragon tank burning down this front line of quads, and the Helixes are going to follow up. The Hero quad has actually survived even longer. These Helixes might just jump on that one quad in the back line and knock him down. SiZe's front line has fallen to pieces. Scorpion tanks are good, but they can't shoot up, and Helixes are raining down fire from above. I thought SiZe was starting to gain some momentum, but it feels like in the last 30 seconds, Fargo has taken all of that away. Supply trucks in the south. The entire expansion in the north has been cleaned up. There was a supply. There were tunnel networks there for SiZe, and Fargo looking to open up with a potential 3-0 here. The big hero is this quad cannon, which continues to put in work for SiZe, doing just massive amounts of damage. And SiZe did get a power plant somewhere. Okay, there it is. So he did use the dozer to build a power plant. He at least has that advantage. So he's got faster production now. And Jarman-Kell getting another snipe somewhere. Okay, the Dragon tank up here. The worker gonna go for it. Run, worker, run! There's 2 more Dragon tanks right there, but just run! Try and go for it. MiGs coming in. Quads fighting up a hill. It's a bad sign if you like GLA, because SiZe gets demolished in the middle of the map. Even the tanks that get turned to the GLA side, RPG troopers again just walking directly into the wall of fire there, and massive damage against SiZe in the last 2 minutes of the game. It felt like with SiZe finding some of these kills, stealing the dozer, finding all of the air forces of Fargo, getting some damage done. It felt like things were starting to swing. He had the Scud Storm finishing up, and then in just 1 to 2 minutes, everything has gone so incredibly into the favor of Fargo. And now with a 20k army difference, it is Fargo's game to lose. The income all dried up for SiZe. He lost control of those middle of the map supplies, which he did have the southern one for quite a while, but he wasn't able to maintain control of it. And Fargo took it over, and SiZe has not been able to evict Fargo. There's another snipe coming through. Maybe German Kell can grab that tank and do something, but it isn't going to be enough as the Scud Storm gets denied. The Dragon tanks burning everything down. Even the power plant will be targeted next. SiZe still in this game in a technical sense, but I'm not sure what he hopes to do against everything that Fargo has. Fargo lost so many helixes this game, and it just didn't matter. Quads pop out. 4 quads versus 5 helixes. Not a good fight for the GLA player. And the Palace, well, the Palace will at least be able to knock down 1 Dragon tank. No, the Dragon tank drives out of range, so not even that will happen. MiGs coming in. They're going to be able to clean up 2, 3, not quite all 4 of those quads. 1 survives for a moment, and then it goes down. Fargo with an amazing 3-0 opener here against SiZe. Even an artillery barrage right there at the end, but it does not matter. We're now going to be flipping over to the other side of the random reverse. And as we load back onto this map, I do want to say a big thank you to ExiLe, who I mistakenly called XCal in a previous video. ExiLe customized my 0-hour interface. He put my logo in a couple of places. He themed it with my colors. So a huge thanks to ExiLe for doing that work for me, for hooking me up, doing it very quickly. And also, I'm sorry to ExiLe for calling him XCal, who, I did cast some XCal games. I had XCal on the mind, but it's ExiLe who is the one who actually customized the 0-hour interface for me. And then, of course, a huge shout out to Doublevil, the BattleScry developer. BattleScry is this overlay system down there at the bottom of the screen that allows me to see all kinds of stats and information while commentating games. Drive is the one who designed the look of the interface, but Doublevil is the one who actually makes it go. So huge thanks to Doublevil for making it work here in 0-hour, and for also bug fixing and making a bunch of things that were broken about it in 0-hour work correctly here. Bunker comes up, double red guard ready to capture those oil derricks. Fargo with either an RPG technical or a terrorist technical. Let's see. Is it a tech terror or tech RPG? 3 dozers are here for SiZe, so he does lose one of them. It's not the end of the world, but sniping a dozer never is good for the China player. Gat on top of this quad, and the Gat wins that fight by a slim margin, so the next quad will be able to clean that up. Helix is out on the field. We'll be able to drop some rockets on this tunnel network, and we'll buy time for this Dragon tank to clean out everything else. Nicely done. The Helix survived. It can go back and repair back up to full health while the Dragon tank burns down the tunnel network and clears out the building. The worker did survive, so another tunnel network will be established here by Fargo. And Tech Terror may be coming through, or Tech RPG gonna try and deny this second dozer. There would only be 1 dozer after that, and the Tech into the back of the base, but the Helix is on it. Helix will be able to knock down that Tech. Maybe not. All of the missiles are falling a little bit short, and finally the Helix is caught up, and so that's going to be a dead technical there. Meanwhile, middle of the map, another Dragon tank goes down. Another tunnel network manages to survive. Fargo looking good with this series opening up with a 3-0, and SiZe really needs to put some points on the board, especially now that he has lost 1.5 of these maps. If he does not win the China side of this matchup after just losing from the GLA side, it will not bode well for him for the rest of this series. Quad's going to walk right into the mines. One of them goes down. Two of them go down. They both get trapped by the mines there, baited by that flame tank. And 12k per minute for Fargo, 10k per minute for SiZe. Still a very respectable amount of income coming in for SiZe, but 13k. Oil refinery captured here for Fargo. Not so much for SiZe. He lost that dozer very early on. He forgot to capture these oil derricks, which is part of why his income is a little bit low. But he does at least have 4 helixes out onto the middle of the map. And Quad doesn't really pop out of that tunnel network. It's just 1 quad. So, oh, that's 2 dead helixes. Yeesh. That's a lot of cash down the drain now for SiZe. He does have black napalm. He is killing his own supply truck, I think, there, as the Dragon Tank will get focused by the quads. Goodbye to the Dragon Tank. And meanwhile, the building is being captured by SiZe, so maybe he can take that over. Okay, Fargo actually did capture that building. It was flashing an orange flag there, and I was wondering why it was flashing blue under the orange flag as the Dragon tanks move forward and the tech repair bay gets burned down as quickly as it's captured. It is eliminated, and that is going to be 1 dead Dragon tank traded well against the tech repair bay. Happy to eliminate that neutral tech structure from this game. Supply truck very low on health, but still working away as both players are harvesting from the center supply in the north. Fargo, on the other hand, he's looking to harvest from the center supply in the south as well. Another flamer goes down. More quads moving forward. 1 tunnel network may go down, but there are 3 more behind it ready to take its place as SiZe is once again, he's trying to take over the middle of the map, just like we saw Fargo do with China on that last game. And for the first half of the map, first half of the time, he wasn't really successful. And then Fargo was able to break the map open and take over both the north and the south. In this case, Fargo is not giving up control of this middle of the map. He is pushing SiZe back. Quad cannons continuing to eat these dragons for breakfast. Turns out dragons aren't very strong if you clip their wings with your guns. And the Dragon Tank, it looks nice, but it does not win you games by itself. Quad cannons gonna try and push this supply center back, and Fargo just continues to take over the middle of the map. More and more tunnel networks coming up. Even the Scorpion tanks getting an angle on the side of that Dragon tank. And the MiG will strike back, so at least some units are going down. A couple of quads getting their scrap upgrades to be able to gun down this Dragon tank that much more quickly. But Fargo, I feel like, is just inching his way across the entire map. Oil derricks have already been eliminated, and he, at least SiZe, was trying to grab that artillery platform. It will not work out. MiGs clean up a couple of units in the north here. Stinger site, though, is still here, so 1 Dragon tank will go down. The second Dragon tank will be able to burn down the units inside the Stinger site, but there is just so much here for Fargo. 6k per minute of an income advantage over his opponent. 24k more resources gathered for Fargo, and 10k of that is active in his army. He's got basically double the army value of his opponent. Way more units, way more units, but that's what you expect from a GLA player. However, the army value for Fargo is also just absolutely crazy, and that's against a player who has multiple helixes full of tank hunters, probably. Scorpion tanks pushing forward. Dragons being eliminated. Flamers are good, but they're not the end of the world. 3-star general rating for both players. So the command center coming up for SiZe. Maybe he can turn things around with the help of some support powers, but more Flamers going down. A couple of Scorpion tanks being eliminated out here on the front line, though. In the south, Fargo is untouched, continuing to take over more and more territory. One of the 2 remaining dozers is down there, which won't matter too much if there is a command center up top, but quads and scorpions moving forward. Looks like this is going to be a dead expansion as these flamers move forward and just more units for SiZe walk into nothing and get cleaned up. They do step forward into just the waiting guns of their opponent. Carpet bomb on top of these forces catches 2 of the quads. Everything else manages to escape. Well, escape is a relative term as the dragon tank gets the catch there, kills off some of the units, and the quad cannons going to help finish off this war factory before going down themselves. The mines getting ignited there by the firestorm of the MiGs. And it could not be going better for Fargo. As the GG comes out, he's even proxying a bunch of buildings on top of SiZe's base just to say, get out of this game. It's my map now. And welcome to Shiva's Paradise for game number 5. I did not think we would be in a 4-0 situation heading into the middle of this match. In the south, the current leader rocking the GLA demo. This is Fargo. And of course, on the north side, playing the China nuke, it's Big Ol' Size. I would not have predicted this, but maybe that's just because I don't know much about 0 hour. There are tunnel networks on this map. Did we see this before? I think I saw it. Okay. Yeah, I had completely forgotten that there were tunnel networks on this map. One in the north, one in the south. So China gets tunnels. Who played this map before? Was it like XCal versus HSN or something? Someone played this map before. Did they? I feel like they got another tunnel network up. It was a GLA player, but yeah, anyways, Shiva's Paradise is the map name. So great to see. Unusual features making their way into maps. Is this a tech terror? Tech RPG will be able to knock down a dozer. That's a dead dozer. He's kept the command center around, so losing the one dozer isn't the end of the world. Nuclear Battlemaster does manage to get the kill, and that's another terrorist. There might be a worker inside of there. Boom. Both supply trucks, though there is a worker, into the corner goes that tunnel network. Eventually, this technical will go down. He's just gonna run away. Oh no, SiZe. Things are not going well for SiZe so far. It is the best of 11. Anything can happen, but we are verging on reverse sweep territory now with SiZe, which again I would not have predicted, but also maybe I just don't know anything about 0 hour. I mean, okay, sure, I don't know anything about 0 hour, but I thought SiZe was going to win more games than 0. That is something that I did think would happen. Nuclear Battlemaster will get the kill on the Scorpion. If he dies too close, no, he does not die too close. Does about half damage. Radiation might clean up one of these RPG troopers. And, well, you do what you can. You hope for the best, and you hope that you don't get double tunneled in your back door. At the very least, SiZe does have Nuclear Battlemasters, so it will be a light show here in Shiva's Paradise. There will be lights all over the place here as another terrorist moving forward chasing that nuclear battlemaster. He might actually be able to escape. He might have to just sacrifice the terrorist onto the building. And, he's going to wait for something else to come out and try and get the kill right as soon as it emerges. Boop. No, it doesn't. It doesn't explode. I don't know if that was a bug or what, but that terrorist did not detonate, or if, Fargo was just not paying attention. But you think he would be. You'd think he would be. I guess SiZe is about to grab this oil refinery there in the middle of the map. And on the other side, it is the failure of Dragon tanks to burn down this base. Down to just one dozer is SiZe. So he does still have his command center. And another tunnel network coming up. Fargo, it feels like, once again, just taking over every corner of the map. Nuclear Battlemasters pushing forward. War Factory is down. Barracks is up here in the north. Oil Derrick is captured in the south there, so at least SiZe has that going for him. Fargo has both of these over there. More dead supply trucks, more dead supply centers, as another couple of dozers emerge from the command center for SiZe. An unfortunate run at this tournament, as the Scorpions are now targeting even more supply trucks, and it's going to be a war factory here on the low ground. The income is actually pretty good for SiZe, 13k per minute, 14k per minute for a moment there, versus the 10k per minute of Fargo. And these tanks might die. Okay, no, they do survive with just a little bit of HP on one of them. The other one is still decently healthy. More tunnel networks, more stingers coming up all across the map for Fargo. And now the oil refinery also going to be targeted. That's going to be a dead Dragon tank just going across the middle of the map. Doesn't care about the units that were right next to it. Drives into a building, ends up going down to the RPG troopers inside. Hey now, at least we get to see nuclear overlords also in the mix, pushing back those tunnel networks. But on the front line, the propaganda center immediately going to be targeted. It's around. A couple of tanks have been produced, but it just immediately gets jumped on by these GLA units. And incoming supplies getting dropped off into the middle of the map. As a war is going on, the supply trucks do manage to arrive. Propaganda center goes down, and so does that nuclear overlord. But a second nuclear overlord going to be showing up just behind this army as the war factory gets clobbered. This army is slowly getting killed, although I don't think they actually have enough firepower now to kill off this overlord. So at the very least, Fargo will be losing that little army, those Scorpions and Quads in the middle of the map. Technical in the south. Maybe an RPG technical or a worker. Is it a tech worker? Is it a tech terrorist? Okay, it's tech terror, as that's going to be dead oil derricks. Goodbye. Artillery barrage will fire off. It'll find a target on the other side. It's not going for the repair center on the high ground. And to finish off the oil derrick comes in, goodbye, Willie, comes in the carpet bomb. So worker does get knocked into outer space, but everything else does get cleaned up by that combination of support powers there. Speaking of, we must have a command center rebuild. Palace is out. Okay, there's command center down in the south there. So Fargo doesn't have any one-clicks available just yet. He is up to a 4-star general. Both players equal on experience in that regard. However, he doesn't have his command center up just yet, so that is a limited value of that command center, or of that 4-star general status. A lot of Scorpions trying to make it past the front line propaganda towers on top of these overlords, and Black Lotus can actually shut down one of these Scorpion tanks as the overlords give chase. And these are nuclear overlords, so they are speedy boys as they rush forward onto the tanks. Can they actually crush Scorpions? It looks like he was crushing them, but the Scorpions did survive. And Overlords can crush some kind of units, but I'm not sure if they can crush Scorpion tanks. 3 more Overlords on the low ground, and SiZe, he has been getting pummeled by Fargo, but he's still fighting. He didn't hear no bell, and he's actually starting to put some damage out onto the board. Not so much with the dragons or the gats or with tank hunters or anything. Oh, that's 2 dead Overlords as the terrorists get out just in time. And Cluster Mine, EMP, Cluster Mine on top of double Battle Bus nearly deletes them. They do manage to get inside of that tunnel network, and workers will now move forward to clean up those mines. An RPG trooper will go down. Jarman Kell out on the map as well. And Overlords, Gat Overlord, Speaker Tower Overlord. Is this a Bunker Overlord? No, it's an unupgraded Overlord, as these other Overlords don't have anyone inside of them. But they do clear out that low ground expansion there. Oil Derrick is vulnerable as well, so potentially that could go down. Battle Bus does get shut down. It gets put to sleep as this second Battle Bus will show up. And unfortunately for the battle buses, or unfortunately for the RPG troopers outside of the battle bus, they're not quite so safe against the dragon tanks when they're on the outside. More tunnel networks down there in the south. Everything gets cleaned up in that top left-hand corner. And SiZe coming alive here in game number 5. I can't believe that this guy has dropped 4 games, and he is fighting with absolutely everything inside of him. ECM's now out on the field, deflecting a lot of those missiles, and SiZe is just like, is suddenly putting on a fight like you wouldn't believe for someone who is down 0-4. You'd think this guy would have more points, and I did indeed. Oh, bye-bye. It's a good swing. He did yell 4 beforehand just to let everyone know that there would be an incoming Jarman Kell launched about 341 feet. It was a good shot through the fairway, landed on the green. And, well, not everything can be a win for Fargo. Sometimes Jarman Kell gets launched into the stratosphere, and you just have to deal with it. Supply trucks going down. MiG strikes a battle bus. Dozer ends up getting cleaned up as well. There are still 2 dozers and a command center out. Also, in this battle bus, just pushing through, driving directly into the mines. Gets cleaned up from the mines, converts into a battle bunker there as these Overlords and ECMs in the middle of the map keep putting out more and more damage. They're just slowly working their way around the map, clearing up everything from the GLA, and now double Dragon Tank over the hill doing nothing. Is that really doing nothing? It doesn't reach over the hill? Oh, no, it is. It is doing just the smallest amount of damage to that tunnel network. Meanwhile, back in the north, double battle bus moving forward. Those demo rockets cleaning up these buildings. And, well, goodbye to that supply center. There weren't any supplies nearby. MiGs get off the deck, and cluster mine. EMP misses completely. Nothing gets hit by that EMP. As these battle buses moving forward, they are going to be able to knock down this oil derrick. MiG cleans up both of the battle buses, converts them into bunkers, and the nuclear MiGs mean radiation after the fact. But that is as good as you can hope for. Artillery barrage is going to be firing off. Nuclear overlords trying to make their way up the hill. Terrorists are going to be getting sent out into the cold by the cleanup there. And onto the palace. Where's this barrage going to land? Perhaps in the corner as they find an arms dealer and clean it up. Slow down the production a little bit here as the workers are rushing for the overlord. They don't get it! Jarman Kell gets the snipe and the overlords bomb rush, but they don't get in close enough. The cleanup does happen. Speaker towers reign supreme with these GAT overlords as well to clean up the workers and deny them from coming in. Meanwhile, more battle bus action on the other side. The nuke immediately set upon by the GLA forces, and SiZe just getting like outstripped in economy in the first part of the game, has climbed back into the driver's seat for the rest of the game, even going to reclaim his overlord as well. Run away from the front line as somebody got deposited back from the stratosphere there. They came back down to Earth. Another cluster mine deploys out on top of this area, and that's going to be a battle bunker now established in the middle of the map, and not quite broken down just yet. These battle buses being extremely effective in general. Anthrax not on top of the army. Where's that Anthrax actually going? It's not on top of the army that I was expecting it to deploy next to, and instead it's going to be way over on the other side of the map, hoping to get everything that's on the ground, gets the dozer, gets the MiGs on the deck. They might barely escape out. No! The supply trucks as well, but on the other side of the map, it's rebels to try and stop the capture. There's an assault troop, there's a troop crawler that has come with this army, packing along a bunch of red guard, and the rebels will be cleaned up here as Fargo is getting put in his place. Finally, SiZe trying to take control of this game. Just an absolutely massive amount of action seemingly everywhere, and as soon as it looks like SiZe is winning, Fargo is just pulling out these random moves all over the place, sends a sneak attack tunnel into the back of his base, sends an Anthrax bomb as well, but SiZe has forced the sell-off of the command center. There's a couple of black markets in the corner. Arms dealer and a palace are the next targets for SiZe. Fargo is going to have to come up with something for game number 6, as game number 5, it might actually be the first one that Fargo loses. If he manages to turn this one around, it will truly be something. Although SiZe doesn't have any income, he's lost a lot of his oil derricks. He never got hackers out. He does have one oil derrick there. He might have a couple of supplies somewhere being gathered slowly. And Battle Bus heads over to the left side of the map, slips inside of that sneak attack tunnel, and the MiG might actually get eyes on this the propaganda center being targeted. The MiG will turn around to try and nail that battle bus, shut it down, and you don't even care if the MiG ends up falling, because it is worth it to stop that battle bus from doing any more. Oil derrick will be captured. Everything else is being laid waste by this army. SiZe, with the power of the nuke, is just taking over the map, and Fargo has been defeated. SiZe finally puts a point on the board here in Shiva's paradise. Okay, SiZe finally putting some pressure on, getting some pace in this series. It feels like in the first couple of games, maybe there was an even chance, but Fargo ended up winning them. And then games 3 and 4, it felt like Fargo was just, I don't know, it was the death of SiZe by like the Defiler Big Fargo or something. It was slow and steady smothering there on that map that starts with a K. And now finally SiZe, after being smothered almost 3 games in a row, turns it around with China Nuke. But now the pressure is really on, because he won with China Nuke, but is he going to lose to China Nuke? And that will just even the score back up and put Fargo in that match point position. Either way, SiZe needs to not let up the gas. He needs to press on forward full speed ahead and keep up the pace. Double barracks opening for Fargo. Sells the command center. SiZe kept his command center pretty much the whole time. In this case, Fargo gets rid of the command center. Double tunnel network in the north next to these oil derricks. So we saw something similar from Fargo, except for the tunnel networks were a bit further back. They weren't as far forward. Another tunnel network, as this is a technical with Probably a worker. Well, it had a worker, now it has, you know, maybe a couple of RPGs or something in it. Nuclear Battlemasters crossing the map. 2 of them, is this terrorists? What is this? It's 4 RPGs inside, so no more workers, but 4 RPGs trying to shut down that tunnel network nice and quick. And, you know, the other side of the tunnel network does still exist, but no more quick access for you. And it looks like the Nuclear Battlemasters have gone down for the current moment. Nuclear Battlemasters continuing to cause some problems, but at least 1 RPG did survive on both sides, so they will go for the kill. Oh, mines! They just walk right into the mines there, and the supply truck will get the crush on that RPG trooper. So good night to that attack. No more hope for SiZe there. Meanwhile, Fargo continuing to try and cross the map with these Battlemasters, gets a crush just in time, stops the oil from being taken. Bunker and a Gat cannon, both in the south here. The oil derrick will be protected, at least for right now. Meanwhile, supply stash in the north and another tunnel network. So this is a lot of tunnel networks between these 4. 3,200 bucks spent by SiZe, but with that supply stash, he will actually earn some of that cash back. Tech Repair Bay and Oil Derrick both taken over. That Nuclear Battlemaster is going to be happy to die when it's on top of the quads like that. 1 quad going down, another one at half health. Another Battlemaster making its way forward. The Nuke Battlemasters do have that, like, suicide element to them. They push forward, they end up getting some damage done even though they go down. And this was the turning point in game number 5, was when SiZe got out his nuclear overlords. That's where things started turning around. And in this case, Fargo has a lot more space to work with. SiZe, he is up on economy, but that may not last now that the overlords are out on the field. Propaganda Center is a potential target. Wherever it is, it's here in the middle of the base, well protected from basically every angle. There's mines surrounding it. There's nuclear overlords on one side. There is a lot that SiZe will have to go through if he wants to snipe that Propaganda Center. That supply center actually ends up going down. There are still 2 dozers out on the map, so no easy chance for SiZe to kill one of them and end the game with just 1 kill. Nuclear Battlemaster, or Nuclear Overlord, going to be pushing forward. Terrorist manages to get the kill on the Overlord on the ramp. Black Lotus now moving her way around the map. SiZe's Black Lotus in the last game was like the most boring unit in the game to go back through and follow that unit around to make sure I didn't miss anything. But a dead ECM there. The terrorist makes sure of it. Tunnel networks being halted mid-production or being shut down after they get constructed. Either way, it's fine for Fargo. And now Fargo is going to take over this oil derrick on the low ground. SiZe, he had some pace, he had some momentum. Ooh, he can snipe an Overlord in the north here. Nicely done here. Worker could run for it to try and capture that Overlord and turn the tide of this fight. Dragon Tank slowly making its way up, and this is going to be a dead supply stash here in the south. Battle Bus as well, going deep into enemy territory. He's close enough to this Propaganda Center that he can break it down without driving on the mines. We'll need to reposition a little bit here. Jarvan Kell can't snipe because he walks on the mines and he gets tossed into the sky. But the Overlord was taken over by SiZe, and now he's going to target down that supply center again. He's already eliminated it once, and now he's looking to take it down again. Fargo putting some big points onto the board with some big explosions, but SiZe finally hitting back with some equally big strikes. Will even manage to escape with this Overlord into the tunnel network. The Overlord is like bigger than the tunnel network building, and yet he's gonna slip down the tunnels underground and emerge somewhere else on the map. His dragon tanks haven't been as big of a deal here in this game, but they are still impactful. Any China player tends to use a lot of dragon tanks, and I guess you can try and break that building. Eventually it will go down, but a tech terrorist going to... not a tech terrorist, a cycle terrorist going to try and break it down. Overlord will once again escape, this time into the tunnel network. Don't stop! He stops! Oh no! He didn't actually get into the tunnel, and he doesn't actually manage to escape. Double battle bus on the south side of the map will be able to break down these oil derricks if they stop and attack them for a moment. This Black Lotus could move over here and force the sell-off of this command center if she positions on the correct side of it. Tunnel network's being completely shut down once again. If there's anything inside of this bunker, it needs to jump inside of this Overlord. And the earlier German Kell, if he had been able to snipe one of those additional Overlords, maybe he could have turned things around. Okay, there's a troop crawler on its way over. It can drop a unit off and manage to get a win there by recapturing that Overlord. More tunnel networks being targeted. Artillery barrage crossing the map, looking for the oil derricks in the north. Won't kill either one, but will get them low enough for the carpet bomb to finish them off. Goodbye to the oil derricks of SiZe. Fargo splitting the map up, and it looks like every fight he is winning. Maybe not this one down on the low ground where the battle buses are. Jarman Kell also showing up, but Fargo winning the fights in the other parts of the map. This is a lot of RPG troopers. They will be able to do some damage to these overlords, and another tank hunter actually ends up going down instead of being able to jump in that overlord. ECM does eventually go down. Jarman Kell plants a bomb on that oil derrick, and the high ground has been eradicated of GLA. Everyone has been evicted. No hope for an easy escape there. ECM does end up going down, and this battle bus may actually find a dozer or two as well. And while the command center is here, so killing off a dozer isn't the end of the world, you still don't want to be wasting your cash rebuilding dozers when you could be building other units with that money. A lot of dead overlords on the low ground for Fargo. Going to be losing a power plant as well, as this battle bus needs to escape. He drops all of the RPG troopers off. He's like, I am running for the hills. You guys deal with these tanks, and I will see you later. As he escapes down to the south side, ends up going down to the bunker or something, and Black Lotus now moving in, and she will force the sell-off of the command center. SiZe is going to have a few seconds to react before the building ends up going down. And he calls in the anthrax bomb just in time. He loses it! RPG, or Rebel Surprise, gets called in at the last second, but that is now a blue GLA Fortress in the middle of an orange base, and it's an anthrax bomb on the low ground. This is going to be some dead tanks, but actually the Overlord just rolls right through it, no problem at all. Maybe try another day. And as long as those rebels start capturing that command center, they will at least force it to be sold off. At the very least, force it to be sold off. Maybe even recapture it for the side of SiZe. Battle buses trying to make their way up onto the high ground, but the overlords on the low ground are continuing to crush through the GLA forces. SiZe, he has stayed even on economy with Fargo this whole game, but losing that low ground supply does not spell good things for SiZe. More battle buses making their way up. They've cleared out the war factory that was here, and they are forcing Fargo to respond. Fargo loses another overlord to the sneakiness of the GLA. Having to kill your own overlords in these lower and lower economy situations can be incredibly frustrating and difficult to deal with. Another dead propaganda center. Good night, as these battle buses have finally been finding the big damage of the game for SiZe. Don't drive onto the mines! He does drive onto the mines, but he does land close enough to still break down these neutral tech structures. Not so neutral when they're on Fargo's side, and they will change their targeting to the overlords, which isn't actually going to work out well for them, but they do at least change their targeting, I guess. Tunnel network in the corner of the map for SiZe. He is still holding on despite the absolute beating that he has been taking from Fargo, not only in this game, but in this whole series. And he really needs to win not only this game, but a couple more after it to put more points on the board. Fargo with this oil refinery in the middle of the map. I thought Jarman-Kell was going to plant a bomb on the building, but no, he passes it right by as more overlords push their way up to the north. Quad and an RPG trooper are going to shut down that tunnel network in the south, although the other side of the tunnel network has been cleaned up for a long time, so I don't think it does anything for the China player. No hope for that. Jarman-Kell does manage to snipe another Overlord, but there's a troop crawler to reclaim the Overlord for the side of Fargo. 2 tech repair bays on this map. I didn't even realize that there were 2 per player. I wonder what the logic is behind having so many tech repair bays per player, unless this is a 4-player map and we're just playing a 1v1 on it. But that's not typically what 0 Hour does, so I'm not sure why there are 2 per player. Another snipe comes in. Jarman-Kell looking for the slowdown of this attack, and this is going to be a lot of dead workers as the carpet bomb comes in. Everybody gets ejected out to next week. Don't worry, SiZe can use those workers in the next game as more workers end up going down. And we haven't seen a really amazing demo Rebel surprise. There was one that was pretty good, but there hasn't been another one since then. The other one was used to try and stop Black Lotus, which didn't quite work out. And oil refinery still under the control of Fargo. Up onto the high ground goes 1 battle bus and 2 quad cannons. Unfortunately for Fargo, he has not been able to maintain control of his base despite having a lot of advantages. EMP misses almost everything. He ends up getting his own MCV, his own command center, as well as this battle bus, but the battle bus can still shoot, and the GG comes out. Are you kidding? SiZe gets a 2nd point on the board. Fargo loses both sides of that map. And here we are on Blue Hole, what seems to be quite a popular 0 Hour map now, and certainly in the World Series 2025. Seen it a number of times, basically in every series that I've casted. In the north, playing the blue, this is Fargo. He is playing Vanilla China, and still down in the score, but a lot less than the last map. Playing the demo GLA. This, of course, is SiZe. BiG-SiZe putting up some big points in the last 2 games. Turns out you just have to snipe Fargo's propaganda center 4 times to win a game versus him. Double barracks into an airfield for Fargo. Barracks into a war factory for SiZe. And of course, this is Blue Hole. Tons of capturable structures, lots of space for tunnel networks. 2 corners of the map that can be quite good for GLA to take over and to hole up in. 1 tunnel will be denied there in the middle of the map. Another tunnel kind of denied here in the middle. And there's the technical going to be able to get the kill on that dozer, on that builder, excuse me. If I say the wrong thing twice, that makes up for it. Getting the kill on the supply truck. Meanwhile, the dozer has managed to escape. Another worker could end up being sniped here. The Helix is out. Of course, that fast airfield does indicate that the Helix will be present. And the dozer is safe for now. Worker does not get killed off, so the tunnel network is established, and that's a war factory from Fargo up there in the north. He has got himself 3 oil derricks with a 4th almost ready to be captured. I mean, he just has to give the command to capture that oil derrick. Meanwhile, oil derricks coming in on the SiZe side of the map as well. He's about to go up to 3 as well, 4 if you count that one, but not this one over here. So both players basically on 4 oil derricks, assuming Fargo does capture the one on the high ground there. Middle of the map can also be very impactful. You've got these 2 garrisonable structures that you can take over. And fortunately for SiZe, he has noticed, is that terrorist actually going to get missed by the flame? So he might actually get close enough to this dozer to get the kill. Quad cannons moving in. The dozer doesn't run away. That's a dead dozer as Fargo is down to just 1. Quad will pop out, and that's going to be a dead helix as well. Going down, but manages to get the kill on true 2 quads. Get the kill back. No workers here, though, to finish up this second tunnel network. So this is a big wrench in the works for SiZe. He would have loved to actually have an active tunnel up here, and he just doesn't have it right now. Another quad cannon goes down. Another kill for a helix. But this is the second helix. The first one has already gone down. More helixes being added into the mix, and a fresh supply center is coming out on the side of Fargo. He's starting to take over the map, and he's currently got a little bit of an early lead on economy. It's not massive, but the fact that he's choking out more and more territory away from SiZe is a big part of that. Flame wall gets set up. It kills the tunnel network that was under construction there. It stops the worker from going any further, but these quads now going to get pushed back. Those RPG troopers are very brave indeed, not only to walk into a wall of fire, but to try and take a building that is standing next to a dragon tank. And I guess it's good that this map is covered in snow, because otherwise it would be a hot place to go. 3 dragon tanks joined in concert. 4 dragon tanks as they just light this hill on fire. I don't even know that that's effective. It's just about sending a message. As SiZe does have the artillery on the high ground there. Always nice to be able to get those artillery platforms. They're not super high priority, but it is nice to be able to get them, helping to clean up that dragon tank. That's a lot of dead RPG troopers there as he tries to hold that building. And this entire hill is just alight with flame. More quad cannons coming out onto the field. SiZe, his army is getting dwarfed by that of Fargo. But if Fargo loses too many of those helixes, then it will be lights out for the Chinese army. Fargo hoping to put another point on the board here, but I think everyone in the audience is hoping that SiZe can win a couple more before sending us, hopefully, to the ace match. So it looks like SiZe is getting choked out on this map, but man, I really hope that he doesn't. Palace being established in the corner there. It looks like everywhere you look is just massive walls of fire. Helix is now coming in. One goes down. Maybe not a good trade there, as these quad cannons do get jumped on, but that building is going to force the other helixes away, allowing more time for an additional dragon tank to come in. The dragons will clear out the buildings, and blue napalm gets upgraded there. It may be called black napalm, but it's blue or purple, depending on how you want to look at it. And whatever that was building, a supply stash or something, just gets denied, or maybe that was a war factory if it gets constructed. And that's 2 more dead helixes. So again, very expensive units going down there. Fargo just losing a huge amount of army value in a few seconds there. Another dragon tank going to be emerging. Black napalm is a killer upgrade to get when you've got this many dragon tanks all across the map. Flamers are already good, and then they're that much better when you get the black napalm. Stinger sight being added into the mix. I feel like no tricky plays in this one. Everything has been pretty straightforward. There haven't been any like sneaky tunnels in the back door or, you know, demo rebel surprises or something that have totally changed the game. Is the tower gonna fall? Yes, it will on the oil derrick. I feel like of a lot of the times that we've seen it recently, it hasn't actually fallen on anything valuable. So 2 more oil derricks will go down, and just huge walls of flame will never be extinguished here as Fargo just turns the map as blue as he can. Black napalm is a difficult thing to stop with quad cannons alone. Is slowly chipping away at these flame tank numbers, but it's just every time you look away, there's another flame tank ready to go. More tunnel networks coming up, but more tunnel networks to be burned down by the ever-growing wall of fire from Fargo. The corner of the map may soon be the only place that isn't lit up with the Chinese fire of Fargo. And, I mean, I guess this does mean that in the next game, SiZe will get to try his hand at the endless walls of fire. And maybe Fargo will just give away too many dragon tanks. I'm actually kind of surprised Fargo hasn't taken over the middle of the map. He must have a command center back up by now. Okay, yes, he does. In the corner of the map, there's actually going to be a carpet bomb getting called in on top of the Stinger sight, on top of the quad cannon a little bit here, mostly just on top of that Stinger sight. Doesn't actually end up doing anything, really. As the helixes move in, they will shut down one side of this expansion and leave the other side open. Artillery barrage on top of the oil derrick, and the command center is back up for SiZe as well. This corner of the map is either about to get crushed or it'll be the only thing left standing for the GLA. The arms dealer gonna get shut down, the supply stash gonna get eliminated, and the dragon tanks just won't be stopped. SiZe is gonna try and pull some units over to the side to save it. The eastern corner of the map will light with flame. Scorpion tanks going to come in. Some splash damage could absolutely destroy these dragons, but at what cost? It feels like Fargo just doesn't care about efficiency. He just wants results. Burns down the supply stash, takes a couple of workers with it, and that's 2 more helixes going down. I mean, it's not an endless money map, so eventually Fargo will run out of cash if he continues to play an inefficient style. It will eventually hurt him, but right now, with him taking the top left-hand corner, with now him taking the middle of the map supply, he's already up an additional 4K per minute over his opponent, and it looks like that's only going to be getting worse as the income disparity between these two players will grow. At least these dragon tanks aren't attacking, at least for SiZe they aren't attacking. Fargo getting more and more units out onto the map, sending them over. And again, it sometimes doesn't even feel like Fargo cares if he is efficient. He doesn't want to win necessarily this battle. He cares about winning the war, and he's okay with losing some of the battles as long as he wins the war, because the helixes show up, they put out the rockets, they put out the fires, because they're just helping to shoot everything that would burn. Nothing will burn if you shoot it all before the dragon tanks show up. If the flamers have nothing to light up, then, you know, then stuff won't burn. But once again, it's just massive walls of fire. Even MiGs just ready to go, ready and waiting in case the GLA player tries anything. The economy of Fargo was already dwarfing that of SiZe, and it's just getting worse as Fargo has 25K in the bank, ready to go, ready to spend on whatever, and SiZe will take another loss here, or he will begin the greatest comeback on this map just by holding up in the corner and fighting until the last man and rocket. Jarmankel gets a snipe there. A little bit too late on that Dragon Tank. Maybe if the RPG Trooper would have been able to jump inside, he could have delayed that army just a little bit more. But these quads are now caught between a rocket and a rocket place as the tank hunters in two different buildings land their shots on those quad cannons. It's not good when the China player is building war factories in your old base. Basically, they're taking over your old supply. Fargo just with a complete shutout of SiZe here in game number 7. SiZe put 2 good games on the board, but now he is just getting overwhelmed by the pure firepower and economy of the China player. But, as I said, it is random reverse, so the good thing is SiZe can now flip it around and do this exact same thing to Fargo. Another snipe from Jarmankel. Artillery platform does go down. Ooh, this is not good as the quads get caught, and the EMP catches a couple more, but it gets more Dragon Tanks than quads. The rest of the army will be dealt with as the Helixes crush the GLA forces, and the end of the game will be forced into the corner of the map. More quads pop out, but the GG comes out and SiZe has been defeated. Fargo goes up to match point in this best of 11. No more chances for SiZe. It's got to be only wins from here on out. Playing the China vanilla, he needs your energy. This is, of course, BiG-SiZe. And you already know on the other side it's Fargo. He's currently leading 5-2. He's playing the other side of the random reverse with the Demo General. When he's up on match point with this much of a lead, will that cause Fargo to be sloppy? It doesn't happen very often, but you do see that occasionally. A player will have a big advantage in the series in terms of number of points. They will start playing it kind of fast and loose. They'll make some mistakes, and then that will snowball, and then by the time it sort of swings around and the other player has the advantage, the player who was once ahead has lost so much of the mental game, they've lost so much momentum that they end up faltering because they've just had mistake after mistake after mistake. And that is what Fargo has the danger of doing. We'll see if he's able to close it out here. I want to see SiZe turn it around. I want to see SiZe put 3 more points on the board and take us to an ace match. Dragon Tank will have to deal with this terrorist, and he will clean up the terrorist. But the RPGs are still inside of this technical. He's racing past the front line, and he will make it at least to, what is he going to go? Up onto the high ground, into the bunkers or something? Or he's not just stopping to kill off those, he's not just stopping to kill off the supply trucks. And it is going to be an RPG trooper inside of that bunker. One more rocket. Does it, and he gets the kill on the dozer. I believe the command center is still here, so it doesn't matter that much, killing off one single dozer. But an extra oil derrick for the side of Fargo is definitely nice. SiZe wants to shut all of this down. He wants to stop Fargo from getting any of those kinds of advantages. So SiZe keeping his command center around does mean that losing a dozer or 2 is not the end of the war, end of the world here. And okay, from the high ground, the Dragon Tanks can cause some problems here. Terrorist will be able to get this other Dragon Tank. He's going to try and run around, and he will actually be able to stop this terrorist, it seems. As, nope, the terrorist does closes the distance, gets the kill, and that will be the end of that. SiZe has done some damage here in the early game. He's taken some damage as well, and Fargo will get the kill on at least one of these supply trucks. A bit unfortunate here for SiZe. It does take a little while for a single RPG trooper to kill off a supply truck, but eventually he will do it. More tunnel networks coming up from Fargo there in the top left-hand corner of the map, but SiZe has made the bottom right-hand corner of the map his home. Dragon Tank shows up. Dragon Tank gets shut down, but another Dragon Tank is here to take its place as the Flamers moving forward from SiZe. He's taking a page out of the book of Fargo and just sending massive numbers of flame tanks, which, you know, is how basically all China players do play. We'll see if he's actually able to create the massive walls of fire that we saw Fargo create. And once again, the tower crashes the wrong way, so it doesn't actually blow up the oil derrick. It will stick around for now. Another tunnel network being denied here. Technical will just die to the tank hunters inside of the building, so goodbye to that technical. Goodbye to the terrorists or RPG troopers that were inside of that tech. Oil derrick on the high ground will eventually be captured by SiZe, so he will be able to capture one of his oil derricks back, get back to a nice, comfy, cozy 3 or 4 oil derricks, however many he ends up having at the end of the day. He is also getting the tech repair bay in the corner. Blue Hole is one of those maps that can go on for quite a long while, but it can also, like all zero-hour games, have an explosive quick finish in the first 5 minutes of the game. So we could be in for an absolute long haul of a dirty, long, trenching fight between these two players where they get dug in and they can't evict each other. Oil derrick getting targeted down. One Helix taking some big damage here. The GAT is leading the charge, but the Helix is going to have to eject out its tank hunters, and the building is going to absorb a couple of those shots there. This corner of the map is not actually being held very well by Fargo, so the GAT does manage to survive. One tunnel network has gone down. The other Helix will be able to escape for now, and one of the oils has gone down there in the north. The other oil in the south is being captured by SiZe, and it looks like the Toxin Tractor will be denied as well. So Dragon Tank moves through the middle of the map. Another one does get caught by these Scorpions. One of these Scorpions upgraded with the double rockets from the scrap. And the building actually gets busted open, so the GAT going to put some additional damage into this tunnel network, and the tank hunters in the building will get the kill that actually counts. Fargo moving in towards the main base of SiZe. He wants to win this game. He wants to win this series, and he's looking to do it very, very soon as he pauses on the front door, and now he moves forward. The wall of fire has already been established, going to do a little bit of damage to those frontline tanks, and if the quad cannons can be dealt with, the rest of the army is easy for these Helixes to burn down. Helix going to jump on top of this army and get shot up by the quads, crash down on top of the army, but the buildings are just being deleted here as Fargo is going to invade in the north. SiZe will invade in the south, and the Dragon Tanks are going to be leading the charge. The Helix are the follow-up. They are the power for this punch. Command Center going to get targeted down. Scorpions and quads will take a little while to actually knock it down. Meanwhile, the Helixes are actually going to turn around, and that's going to be a carpet bomb on top of the army. There's only a couple of quads left. One of them is fully heroic, so at least one of the Helixes will go down, and the last quad will fall. The Scorpions are dead on the ground. They get cleaned up, and the entire army goes down, mostly to that carpet bomb. SiZe still has a chance, and now he's finally up in army supply as well. He's got big income at 13K per minute, double that of his opponent. He cleared out this top left-hand corner of the map, denied so many of the oils from Fargo, stopped him from taking them over, and now he's starting his own flame wall, albeit it's not as good as the one that Fargo had, but it's still good enough to maintain control of this section of the map. Command Center on its way back up as it's a 4-star general rating for SiZe. He's got more experience than Fargo, who's only currently sitting at 3 stars and maybe hasn't even rebuilt his Command Center, so he can't call in any kind of support powers, no demo rebel surprise or anything like that, but he can still build tunnel networks, and he can cross the map with quad cannons, Scorpions, RPG troopers, and there's not even any Scorpions here. It's just quads and one lonely only Toxin Tractor, which ends up getting turned back around and sent the other direction. Quads are good. Are they going to get EMP'd, though? What is this, a cluster mine? On top of the supply, so he's hoping to deny this area from being harvested by Fargo. Meanwhile, artillery barrage will fire off. Maybe he'll catch this supply stash on the low ground. Dragon tanks continuing to slowly move their way forward, and it's... I don't know what that artillery strike was. I don't know why he did that, but he just did. And now the Gatlixes are going to clear out this oil derrick kind of slowly. Not actually going that quickly, but it will eventually fall to the gunfire of SiZe. SiZe fighting for his tournament life. He's rebuilt into the corner. He's got double war factory soon to be online. He does still have this corner supply. He does still have the oil refinery in the corner as well. Quad cannons moving forward. They're going to be able to shut down this base, eliminate anything that SiZe had back there. Worker could actually be sniped. Toxin Tractor in the corner as well might go down. Stinger Sight is here. Fargo trying to lock down his section of the map. 3 Dragon tanks move forward. 2 will die without doing anything, and the 3rd goes down as well. SiZe donating a couple of more units to his opponent's Christmas fund. He heard that it was going to be tough to win the event, so he said, you know what, I'll give you a little donation to start you out, a couple of more Dragon tanks. But now this northern section of the map has been cracked open by SiZe. Helix is on the verge of going down there, but the supply stash has been cleaned up. The Toxin Tractor is gone. The Worker is gone in the corner there. And more walls of flame are shutting off the attack paths of these quads. They may end up kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here, or rather out of the frying pan and into the fire, because it's a bunch of helixes that they turn and run into. SiZe moves forward with a dozer, looking to reclaim his original main base. The bunkers get busted open, and 1 RPG trooper is not enough to stop all these helixes, although he does need to actually kill off the bunker. Okay, there he goes. He does finally get the kill. Artillery platform on the high ground will be able to fire a couple of shots. Quad cannons will be able to kill off at least 1 dozer here before the Gat cannon actually gets established. He needs to cancel that Gat cannon, get the cash back in his pocket instead of just letting it go down. Although he's got 12K in the bank, SiZe's biggest problem is not having the cash on hand. It's actually doing something with the cash that he's got on hand. Quads will end up going down to this sandwich of flames as the quads, they're going to have to run away straight into 5 or 6 helixes, which just overwhelm the forces of Fargo. He is down 20K in terms of total army value, and Fargo is getting dominated here in game number 8. SiZe is looking to put another point on the board, and having those support powers is probably going to be his key to doing it without throwing away the game. He wants to just slowly move things forward. He doesn't have a particularly high health army, although there are very few armies in 0 Hour that are high health. Pretty much everything is susceptible to the right kind of gunfire. So if you've got a bunch of helixes, they do okay. They can survive a bit of a beating. But if you get the right number of quads, they just shred those helixes. And now Dragon tanks slowly moving forward once again. Fargo getting pushed out of the northern section of the map. He's tried to take this expansion area twice. Tunnel networks, stinger sites, and a supply stash all burned to the ground by SiZe. Fargo getting pushed further and further into the corner. Airfield, is this the first time the airfield is being rebuilt after it got cleaned up maybe 5 minutes ago? Finally, SiZe has rebuilt it. He must have had another airfield somewhere else. I'm not sure where, but he must have. He certainly must have. Double Dragon tank onto the high ground, once again trying to abuse this cliff to get as much damage out onto the supply center as he can. And once again, the supply center and the barracks will be burned down by the Dragon tanks. The infinite wall of fire burns in both directions. Fargo won with it on Blue Hole, and now he will lose to it as SiZe brings the fire to Fargo just from the other side. EMP will, I think, once again completely miss, but it does force the quads away, and it does force the quads into a bad situation. Helixes will just camp over top of this base, and it's been done and dusted for a while, but Fargo hasn't left the game yet. SiZe almost could just donate all of these helixes by crashing them down over top of his opponent's base and just getting what he can with it. He has 14K in the bank. He has so much cash on hand and cash coming in that he can afford to play inefficiently and still win the game. He does also now have 4 MiGs circling here on the east side of the map. And that's going to be 2 more dead quads, possibly 4, as they burn down slowly. And the GG comes out. Fargo has been defeated, and BiG-SiZe puts another big point on the board. And that'll send us to Tournament Desert for game number 9. As we head to the north, playing the Stealth. This is Fargo. Meanwhile, in the south, his tournament life is on the line. And what a day to draw laser. This is SiZe. Ooh, you got a feel for SiZe getting laser in what is potentially his last game here. If you are on the Fargo side and you draw laser, you're like, okay, well, I'm up 5 points to 3. That's fine. But laser versus stealth, that sounds like a terrible matchup. Maybe I'm wrong. If I am, and SiZe is actually playing the stronger faction, I would be very surprised to learn that. Firebase going to come up here on the right side. No dozers, no nothing in the beginning to force SiZe to try and limit the output of the GLA player. Fargo, he is playing stealth GLA, and well, stealthy tunnel networks can be difficult to stop. Terrorist, it's yep, it's lights out for SiZe. Power plant being in that forward position, it's you know, kind of assumed that it's going to get sniped. Tech terrors are incredibly common on every map for any GLA, so the fact that they came out here on this map is no surprise. More tech terrors possibly here, going for the dozer. Nope, they go for the firebase, and the dozer is left to the RPG troopers. The Humvee will get the cleanup on the RPG troopers, but it's 2 more technicals, and they've got the veterancy upgrade as well. Fargo knows what he's about. What a terrible day to draw laser for BiG-SiZe, encircling the dozer, but it will allow both of these technicals to end up going down. One of them ranks up even, and still it gets eliminated. Toxin Tractor out onto the map for Fargo. He's currently staying even in income with SiZe, so SiZe is doing okay in that regard, but it feels like as the game goes on longer and longer, more and more of the map will be taken over by Fargo. So SiZe has a mission. It is stop Fargo from getting out of control, which is not the easiest thing to do if you lose your supply. It's not game over, but it feels like it is. The supply goes down, and Fargo now has a very big window with which to win the game through. SiZe, it feels like, has less and less options as the moments go on. He's up to 4 Humvees. I would really love to see it be a group of 6 Humvees, but he needs at least 1 to stay back home. This is going to be a dead dozer. More terrorists out onto the field. Missile defenders will eject out, and they will at least get 1 of these technicals. Humvees coming in. Ambo will be the follow-up, and the dozer is the bait, but 1V, 2Vs will go down. It's a tragic story for SiZe, but it's one that every Generals player has to deal with at some point. When you're down against the wall when your back's against the wall and you draw a bad faction, even if you could win the other side of the matchup, you have to survive this side of the matchup first. SiZe loading up into this Chinook. He is going to be moving forward. He does still have both of his dozers out on the field. His income has been hampered by losing that supply center, but he's not, he's still in it to some degree, and he is fighting for his tournament life on the line here. I don't think there is much of a payout down in the round of 32, so whoever loses here loses out on the big money. War Factory goes down. Every moment that goes on, it seems better and better for Fargo, and if killing the supply center wasn't the end of the game, killing the War Factory pretty much is. SiZe has enough cash basically to rebuild it, or he will very, very soon, but then he's got no production until it comes back online. And who wants to spend an extra $2 grand rebuilding that War Factory instead of doing anything else with that money? These Humvees are going to have to be absolutely fiendish as they move around the map. They are going to have to turn into the most cost-efficient Rockvies perhaps you have ever seen. Chinooks will be able to clear out this building, so at least one building does get taken over there by SiZe, and he is now going to be moving out to the left side of the map. If he had this oil derrick and this oil derrick, then I would be feeling a lot better for him. He is going to be able to get a little bit of damage done on the left side of the map here. Even with another tunnel network going up, he might be able to shut down this supply center and stop Fargo from claiming even more territory. This is a big pop. A lot of technicals. They're going to try and cut off the escape route of these Humvees. If the Humvees can manage to escape out of the corner, they can kite the technicals. They actually are escaping for now. SiZe just needs a bit of momentum on his side, and the Rockvies will do the rest. One supply ends up getting shut down here. A lot of the workers go down as well, and these technicals are just wanting to get on top of these Vs. Toxin Tractor from one side, and the V will take a lot of damage. One V goes down, and the technicals sense blood in the water. Another V eliminated. The pilot needs to escape, needs to jump on out of there somewhere else. This Chinook is still just sitting there. No long-distance mining from the middle of the map, at least not for the current moment. And the Ranger just slowly shooting away at those buildings. Supply stash coming back up there in the top left-hand corner. Tournament Desert can turn into this split map scenario, and that is not good for SiZe. He doesn't want Fargo to have his own half of the map, and an RPG gets left there on the bottom right-hand corner. He's going to try and shut down any further harassment. SiZe currently winning the Humvee race. I can't believe after losing both of those key structures to the terrorists that he has managed to put out enough units onto the board to actually fight back against Fargo, but that's a lot of dead Vs as the technicals rush in. The missile defenders clean up one, but not the other, as Fargo gets very close to wiping SiZe off of the map. SiZe, he is absolutely still in it. Double arms dealer here in the north for Fargo, and I'm just surprised there hasn't been a bigger swell of units. SiZe has done, honestly, an incredible job of controlling the game with the limited number of Rockvies that he's got. They're both up to 3 stars now. Flashbang's gonna help clear out this building, and okay, back into the tunnel network they go. No one really wants to step out. It's only 2 Rockvies on the front line. This RPG Trooper causing some problems for SiZe. And SiZe has been down on economy this whole time, but he is climbing back up with the help of that oil derrick. I can't believe he actually hasn't captured the oil derrick on the right side. I thought for sure that a Chinook was going to make its way over there with a random Ranger to be able to capture that, but it just hasn't actually happened yet. Shot comes out. Snipers finding their targets, and the building gets broken down. Tunnel network is here. Technicals pop out. That's one more dead V. The fully hero V does manage to survive, but the hero technical does as well. He escapes back down into the dark tunnels, and one Warthog strike comes across the map, knocks down a tunnel, and hope springs not quite eternal as the terrorists clean up that oil derrick. That's a good night to that economic bonus for SiZe. Fargo moving forward with more and more tunnel networks, but in the middle of the map, 2 of them are currently down. 2 of the 3. Fargo does, have to worry about getting cleaned out from this middle of the map. If SiZe could shut down at least this section of the map, that would open up one avenue for his Humvees to move through. But as long as there's at least one tunnel network here, it is still dangerous for the Vs to move forward. 10K of army in these Vs, and we've seen in the past how quickly they can explode down to 0K of army. As long as they kite, as long as they keep out of range of anything that the GLA has, then they can fight basically forever. But as soon as the distance gets closed, that's where the GLA starts winning. Can he clear out this tunnel network? He pushes in. That's going to be a snipe. He shuts down the hole as well. SiZe is making it happen. He's starting to claim back the territory. Toxin Tractor will go up the hill, Stinger Sight, and a tunnel network to guard this supply stash. Meanwhile, on the left side, there's the next wave. Are you ready for it, SiZe? It's another dead war factory right as the strategy center is coming up. And no, he denies the strategy center as well. The dozer does survive, and the war factory will now be rebuilt there along the southern edge of the map. The Chinook keeping an eye on that oil derrick from minutes and minutes and minutes ago. The Humvee numbers have stayed pretty healthy, all things considered. More than 4 Humvees is where you want to be at. With the tow missiles especially, you can burst buildings down pretty quickly. Ambo is good to have as well, just to keep everything happy and healthy. Man, shutting down those war factories have completely stopped SiZe from being able to snowball and take over the game. I feel like SiZe would have won by this point if he hadn't lost a couple of those key structures earlier on. And Stealth General, not so stealthy when you make a lot of noise like this. 2 more critical buildings going down. Pathfinders are nice, but they have to be out in position earlier to be able to stop that kind of stuff. As the terrorists make their way forward, that's going to be a dead dozer. That's going to be another shutdown power plant here as these technicals clean up the dozer. And that is 0 dozers, but there is a command center still out on the map. Fargo pulling SiZe apart bit by bit. If things had gone slightly differently, SiZe would be absolutely crushing this game. He's managed to keep the Rock Vs alive. He's managed to put them in basically always the right spot with 2 big exceptions. And now things have continued to snowball out of control. Fargo, it didn't feel like he was in control for a lot of this game by comparison to many of the games that we've seen in the past for this series. It feels like SiZe had basically a couple of things go wrong, and that's why Fargo is dominating the middle of the map. SiZe moves forward on the left side. The bunker is going to be cleared out. This tunnel network will go down. This is buying a ton of time. If SiZe had been able to keep his war factory alive, if he had been able to get out his strategy center and activate search and destroy, this game could have been different. Another building will be cleared out. More and more buildings under the control of SiZe, or at least not under the control of Fargo. In the middle of the map may finally fall to SiZe. Big wave of technicals show up. Rocket buggies now out onto the field. 14 and a half minutes in before the rocket buggies really make a major appearance, and there is one dead V. More and more wins for Fargo. Terrorists coming through. GLA Technicals, perhaps the hero unit of the people. One more for the road, but it's not going to be enough to knock down that war factory. Oh man, the technical even going to be going hero status off of those Rangers. Laser tank will go down in the middle of the map. No real hope for him there. These, with that superior range, would absolutely be crushing the armies of Fargo. In this case, they have a lot of units to attack into. Jarmankel didn't even get a snipe off there. Meanwhile, supply center over here on the left side. It feels like SiZe has been fighting a losing battle, but he's still in the game 15 minutes in. Fargo has not broken him. Fighting for his tournament life, and SiZe wants to send us to another game. Strategy center coming up on the left side. He may actually be able to get it up this time, and then he can finally get that search and destroy activated. Get the additional range for his units. Humvees moving forward. SiZe has kept just enough Humvees around this entire game that he has maintained control over most of his side of the map. There's always these sneaky little incursions that keep happening that sort of blow up SiZe's momentum. They stop him from being able to just run away with the game. And now Search and Destroy has finally been initiated. Sniper shot rings off north of here, but it doesn't look like it was a Jarmankel. It looks like it's a battle bus. Can it be kited perfectly by these Humvees? Those RPG troopers cause a lot of problems for the laser general, and that's going to be maybe one more dead V in this exchange. Rocket buggy lands a couple of more shots, but no. Once again, SiZe survives. Do you believe? And SiZe, he's actually corralling this GLA army, even with the rocket buggies, even with the early middle of the map supply. SiZe is actually starting to take over the map. He has not been able to cross the middle, but he has stopped Fargo from getting any real ground. Looks like another A-10 Warthog strike coming in. Another building will be cleaned out. SiZe just slowly ranking up these units again and again and again. Another tunnel network goes down. He might be able to just clear out this middle of the map once again. He knocks down the tunnel network. Colonel Burton, careful. Battle bus is here. SiZe still has his army. Despite all of the things that have gone wrong for him in this game, he still has his army. He still has his units. Fargo has gotten the key infrastructure kills like 10 different times now, but he hasn't been able to seal up the game. It feels like as soon as one of these Humvees goes down, that the things will just tip into the favor of Fargo. But it keeps not happening. SiZe keeps staying on the map, and now with the income advantage, less than 1K per minute for Fargo, he just may not be able to rebuild anything. Killing that oil derrick with the Warthog strike a couple of minutes ago was a critical choice for SiZe. Battle bus does survive, so do the Vs. Middle of the map is the point of control for Fargo, but he has lost what control he once had over the middle of the map. It is no longer only the domain of the GLA, and Fargo never really got a huge income. He has had an income advantage over SiZe for basically this entire game. He is up nearly 10k total resources gathered over SiZe, but that isn't necessarily always present in the army. Ooh, those Humvees not going down. Shots raining out somewhere. The Pathfinders being mixed in with these Vs is absolutely massive. Does allow him to break the Stinger sight a lot easier when there's no one in it firing back. Rocket buggies don't land their shots. Those Vs got out of range by what looked like 1 foot. Okay, missile defenders will go down to this toxin tractor. Oh, he actually jumps out of the building. He's going to laser lock down that tractor, but buy enough time for the Humvees to respond. Fargo just can't break SiZe. SiZe is going to have to play this from the other side, though. He can't just win here. He has to win the GLA side of the match as well. Rocket Buggies finally get the kill that they were looking for. SiZe losing that Humvee. Critical number of Humvees. He's down to just 4. Technical moves forward, grabs the scrap. That's a super tech now, as he's fully heroic, these units on both sides. And Fargo, once again, is just stealing away that cash from the middle of the map. There's so little money left on the map. Much of it is not easily accessible. Where's SiZe even harvesting from? He's got, I think, a little bit of... No, he might not actually have any income. So his income may just be slowly dwindling over time. His income per minute stat. Fargo can afford to give up some of this space as long as he keeps this supply stash online. Battle bus gets caught there. Flies up into the sky, and now it's stuck in place. Pathfinder gets left out in the open, but gets the snipe on Jarman Kel. I feel like if there could be one Pathfinder over here just to deny this supply from being harvested. Technical steps forward. Technical survives. 5 Humvees out onto the map. Tunnel network, and another technical goes down. The tunnel network will go down. Rockets pop out, and they claim another V. War Factory there. That one lonely chopper just bringing in cash so incredibly slowly for SiZe. Bunker never got totally eliminated. The toxin tractor managed to clean it out for a moment. And the command center is still here, so now the Warthog strike coming in. Neither player is actually ticked over to a level 5. Neither one of them is a 5-star general. Quad cannon spots the A-10 Warthog strike. This is going to be death for anything that jumps out of these tunnel networks. Warthogs go for the palace, so this could be the end of buggy production. These Humvees might be trapped in the back here. Another Humvee going down. Missile defenders pop out. Laser lock lines up. That's a dead rocket buggy, and now the missile defenders can lock down this palace. Technical stepping forward. The end of the Vs might be the end of SiZe as well here in the World Series. The Technicals finally find the angle. They trap the USA Army in the corner, and one super technical wins the game. SiZe taps out, and Fargo advances into the round of 16 for the 2025 World Series. A heartbreaker for SiZe. I was starting to believe in him in that game number 9, but Fargo wins it out in the long one. Huge thanks to the players for participating and for all of the folks who make the World Series happen. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is Sybert signing out.